Welcome everyone to my long-awaited Pixar ranking, where I rank all of 18 movies. I know there are 19 movies, but I have seen Coco, but I wrote this ranking a few months ago. So it's only 18 movies for now, and I'll just have Coco as an honorable mention. But this is the Pixar ranking of all the movies they made. Pixar is one of my favorite movie companies to do animation besides DreamWorks and Leica. But let me just say, Pixar has had some really great films, a lot of box office successes, but they've also had some movies that are in between, and some of them I don't care for. But I still think Pixar is a really great franchise, and I'm going to talk about their movies from worst to best. I'm just going to try and keep this ranking a little short, but this may get a little long at the same time. So, if you don't agree with the list, don't get angry, just respect my list and I'll respect yours, and we'll call it even. But before I get into the list, my honorable mention is Coco. It was a great movie. Coco is an entertaining film, but it is the same thing as The Book of Life, which is a better movie. But I do enjoy Coco nonetheless. I think it's a really good movie, and it's a tradition done magnificently well. And there's a lot of moments that you are pretty invested in. So Coco is a great film, just couldn't put it on the list. Now Cars 2, the worst Pixar movie. The first one wasn't that great, but it was somewhat tolerable. This one and the third one, which I will get to next, is just pure examples that Pixar only did this just to have a trilogy, thinking it was going to be the next Toy Story. You're not going to be the next Toy Story. All you have to be is a really good movie, and I will like it. Besides some of the voice acting and some of the animation, the story is lacking. The characters, except for the ones from the previous film, are not so good, and the idea of the cars being agents, it sounds cool, but when you watch the movie, it's not very, very memorable. And Cars 3, it was even worse, and that movie was not good either. But this movie is just a solo disappointment, to say the least. I will not watch this again, ever. We have Cars 3. This is one I don't want to go into again because I've said everything I need to say about this movie. It's like we had some really great animated films this year, but this one was not good at all. I enjoyed Despicable Me 3 was a surprise, and it actually has me wanting to watch the other two, which I actually do like, and the Minions movie, which I do like after watching Despicable Me 3. But this movie here is just not a good movie. It is a disappointing end to the Cars trilogy. It has some good voice acting, it has some good music, it has some good sequences, and there are some things that made me laugh in between, but overall, Cars 3 is just a failure for the Cars trilogy. I know people like it. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not going to insult you, but I don't see anything. Number 16 is Cars, the original. This is the only tolerable Cars, and this one I do have problems with. Like I said in my review, I don't like this idea. I think this idea is kind of weird of Cars being main characters, but I went with it. This was the only one I could tolerate. I do like the soundtrack, I do like the voice acting, I do like the car sequences, I do like everything else in this movie, but the writing is a little iffy, the direction is kind of whatever, and I feel like that some of this is kind of just okay to generic. It's a generic Pixar movie at best, and not much more to say on it. Number 15, which is Brave. like I said, I don't hate this movie. I do like some things in Brave. I like Merida. I think she's cool. I do like the voice acting. I do like the direction. I do like the writing. But the problem for me is this film was boring. I was bored. But the action was nice, but the story was nice too. And I feel like the reason why I was so bored is because because I guess Merida was kind of Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. But overall, I just feel like the movie just didn't quite live up to its full potential as it could have had. I know people like it, but this is one of the overrated ones to me. But it's not a terrible movie. I can watch it for a time waster or a snowy rainy day. But Brave is just one of those Pixar movies I'll go back to once in a while just to watch. Number 14 is Monsters University. Now, the prequel to Monsters Inc. I like this prequel. I think this prequel is very underrated. I don't know why everyone hates it. I think this is a really good prequel, and I think it's pretty entertaining. It's pretty watchable. I really like it. I think it's cool. It's fun, and hippity-doo. Voice actors are great. I love seeing how the friendship of Mike and Sully came together. John Goodman and Billy Crystal are great. I love all the other monsters too. The music is pretty good. I like the story. There were some characters that got underdeveloped, and I feel like some things that were not necessarily needed. But I think Monsters University was a good prequel. It is one of 2013's better movies. I really did enjoy it. And Monsters University is just a fun time. So I do recommend this one quite a bit. So yeah, I do give Monsters University a purchase worthy to buy on DVD or Blu-ray, especially if you are a Disney fan. And if you have not seen any of these Pixar movies, you need to do yourself a favor and really ASAP go watch them, because they're good. So yeah. Is WALL-E. WALL-E is an okay film at best. Not the greatest film ever, but it is one of my favorite. It is a movie that I think is tad bit overrated. But the sound design by Ben Burtt and Wally and Eve, they're a pretty cool couple, and there's a lot of interesting ideas in here, and I like the story here. The story here is very, very good. I do think there is an audience for this movie, but the problem I have here is that I feel like I couldn't get into the story on certain occasions. But WALL-E was a pretty decent film. It was a pretty entertaining one at that, and I have to say I can't tear the movie down just for being entertaining. It was watchable, it was fun, and it was entertaining. So WALL-E is still an overrated movie, but I can watch it on Number 12. We get to the ones that I really enjoy. Some of them I love more than others, and some of them I just love with a loving passion. And you'll see some of the loving passion ones on here. So number 12 is Inside Out. I love Inside Out. Talk about the idea of having all these feelings in your brain. I love that idea. It's such a pretty good idea. I think Pixar really did do a good job with this movie. The voice acting was great. My favorite one of the feelings was happy, because happy is always the happy one. Angry was cool, sad was cool, grossed out. The other ones were pretty cool, and I would like to see a sequel to this if they do make one. But I really think this movie is entertaining. It's awesome. I think it's fantastic. I think it's magnificent. The voice acting work was cool. Music was cool, and I love the story. And just this was entertaining. Just entertaining fun. So pretty fun movie. Inside Out is worth your time. I definitely recommend watching Inside Out. It is a pretty entertaining film, and I really dig this movie. It is so cool. Monsters Inc. And Monsters Inc. is a pretty awesome film. Came out in 2001, the year of 9/11 with Earth 2001. That was the same year Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings started. And I really enjoyed Monsters Inc. as a child. I loved the little girl in here, Boo. I love Mike and Sully in here. The villain was pretty cool. I liked the animation here. And Pixar really just knew what they were doing. This shows that Pixar was doing fantastic. And this was nominated for Best Animated Feature, but it lost to Shrek. And Shrek was also a really good movie too. And Monsters Inc. is just pretty funny, pretty awesome. I really like it. It's just so cool. And the acting in here is just very good. And this movie, the end of this movie is emotionally amazing. And the jokes were just very fantastic. And I like the Monsters Inc. headquarters. So, Monsters Inc., you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend it. Coming in at number 10 is Toy Story, the start of the Pixar movies. I love these Pixar movies. The Toy Story was their big break, and it showed that CGI animated films can be good, and they can be pretty successful when you do them right. And I think that's what they really did here well. I think it was fantastic. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen as Woody and Buzz, some of the best friendship is pretty cool, and some very quotable lines. You are a toy. You are a sad, strange little man. This movie, just fun times at the movies. It's very awesome. I really enjoy it. It's a pretty fun and fantastic film, and I think that this movie is just fantastic. It's cool, it's awesome, it's amazing, and it is wonderful. I think it is a magnificent film. Only thing though, I wish there was a reference to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, because the other two movies after this have Star Wars references, and I think that the Star Wars references are magnificent in the Toy Story trilogy. If you had one with this one, this would have been the first trilogy to have Star Wars references from Pixar. But anyways, and Sid is a just evil jerk. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and Toy Story is my number 10. For its 10-year anniversary, Ratatouille. This was great. This is underrated. I love the heck out of Ratatouille. A rat who wants to be a chef. It's a pretty interesting idea. I love the voice work, the animation work, Brad Bird directed, and the look of Paris, France in this movie is great. The animation looks magnificent. It's crystal clear. The writing is solid. The direction is great. I love how it plays out. I like how just this movie does great in general. And just when you think about it, a premise like this could have not worked, because this was after Cars, but the premise worked, and the acting was great, and the performances are just so entertaining and so fantastic. So I have to say that Pixar really brought their A game with this one. I have Toy Story 2, the sequel to the very successful and widely popular Toy Story, which both this one and the first one, when you look at their score on Rotten Tomatoes, they have a 100%. Toy Story 3 almost got the 100%, but there were some criticisms people had. But Toy Story 2, just 1 year after A Bug's Life, they knocked it out of the park. Originally, this was not gonna be theatrically released, so they went through a lot of production troubles as they were making this movie and Bug's Life at the same time. That somehow, through the grace of God and through the grace of Disney, they said we were gonna make this movie, and this sequel was despite the production troubles, this movie was still great. I love how it played out. I love how everything magnificently just does a great job. It's so cool to see what they were doing here, and I just thought that they really brought their A game here. And when you watch the movie, this movie is really really entertaining. I think it's so cool. I think it's so fantastic. And the introductions of Bullseye and Jesse and some new characters are pretty entertaining. You get the same classic characters. And also, Kelsey Grammer, you'd think he's a good guy, but Stinky Pete was just a bad guy. And Zorg was really good. And I love the Star Wars reference, "I'm your father," from Empire Strikes Back. That was awesome, and I really enjoyed that. So Toy Story 2 is a great sequel, and I definitely recommend it. Up. Up is a really great film. I do enjoy it. The beginning of this movie will have you in tears, and the end of this movie is just great. You get to see Carl. The scenes with Carl and his wife are just heartbreaking, and I think that's what they succeeded in doing with this movie, and it's really, really enjoyable. The voice acting is great. I love the dog. I love the old man and the little boy. They're really great. I love when the house is taken on the air and they go on this adventure with all the balloons. And the score in here is really great. I love it. And just, this movie is just basically fantastic. I just have a lot of good fun with Up. Up is a really enjoyable film. I definitely recommend it. And this movie is worth your time if you have not seen it. I definitely do recommend watching it. Number 6 is Finding Nemo. Now, everyone loves Finding Nemo. This is a great Pixar movie. What can I say about Finding Nemo that I haven't said already in my video review? I think Finding Nemo is just great. It's very great. It's a magnificent movie. It's very great. 2003 really showed itself out with the Matrix sequels, The Return of the King, this movie, X-Men 2, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Finding Nemo is just a great Pixar film. It's one of those movies that you can't hate. And the beginning of the movie always got me when Coral goes missing and when Marlin said, "I will protect you, I will keep you safe," when Nemo is in the little circle. And I do love the music in the movie. Thomas Newman does a great job with the music. Ellen DeGeneres' Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. This is very funny, and I love Nemo. I love how the animation is. All the voice acting is great. But the little girl with the braces freaks you out completely. Freaks you out completely. She is just scary, and she is very, very creepy. So I have to say that watching this movie, Finding Nemo, is great times, and it deserves to be seen by anybody. Screw overrated. This movie is not overrated. This is a very great movie, and is definitely worth your time and energy, and worth the price of admission. If you have not seen this movie, definitely watch it. It is awesome. Number 5 is The Good Dinosaur. This movie came out in 2015, same year as Inside Out, and this is one of the forgotten Pixar movies. This is Pixar's most underrated film out there. I think this two of Pixar's most underrated. I think there's a lot of enjoyment in here. The voice acting is great. The premise was great. Anna Paquin and all the voice acting from everyone is great. I love the story here. The dinosaurs are great. The little boy's connection with him was great. And this movie didn't deserve to basically underperform because the movie didn't do so good. But it didn't stop Pixar from making its budget back. And people really like the movie, and some people are mixed on it. But Good Dinosaur is just a very good movie. I love how it plays out. The story is great, and the characters is just where it's at. And this idea of a dinosaur being good and dinosaur trying to find his family, that was pretty great. And so I have to say that is pretty sweet and fantastic. That is what I enjoy in The Good Dinosaur. And The Good Dinosaur is my number 5. 4 is the most underrated Pixar movie, and that is Disney Pixar's A Bug's Life. As you can see, this is a 2-disc set, 2-disc. I don't have a case for this movie to put these in, but I'm fine with it. A lot of good special features on here. This movie came out in the year I was born, and thank goodness, because 1998 also has some bad movies and some good movies, but 1998 was my year. This came out in November, the same month as Ants, and I enjoyed Ants and this movie for what they are. They're both really good. They're both really enjoyable. I think they're fun. It's very fantastic. They're very cool, and just I can't say anything bad about Bug's Life. This premise was really cool. I think the characters are really great. Look there, and Kevin Spacey, I know as this guy was pretty cool. Just you have a really interesting story here, and the voice acting is great. You got young Hayden Panettiere, Julia Dreyfus. Everyone does a great job in here, and I just think that this movie deserves more recognition. It has a very, very good score on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think people just compare this movie too heavily to Ants. But if I see them both as their own things, this movie is about bugs. The DreamWorks movie Ants is about ants. So I have to say that A Bug's Life, very underrated. Check it out. Is my number 3 is Finding Dory. This came out last year. Last year we have some great animated films. This movie, Trolls, the Angry Birds movie, just that year was good for animated movies, except for Norm of the North, which we're not going to talk about because I've not seen Norm of the North, and everyone has told me to stay away from it, and I'm doing that. But Finding Dory is a great sequel. 13-year-long wait. Very awesome. It's just pretty cool. I think this is really good. Ellen DeGeneres, all the cast back, get some new characters, and the turtle is always been my favorite character. So I have to say that he is my favorite character. I loved him. I loved the turtle in this movie, in the first one and the second one. He's so funny. And my only problem with Nemo is that if this is 13 years later, why is Nemo still a child? I don't know. It's probably what they were still going for, because this does pick up after Finding Nemo, but you could have had Nemo be an adult, but it's alright. And Dory, again, out to find her parents, really good idea, and just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I love that part, love when Dory says that. Animation is great, acting is great, and story is great. Everything is just top notch. This was a sequel that was very much long awaited, and it paid off big time. It was a great movie, and that's my number 3. 2 is The Incredibles. Yes, I freaking love The Incredibles ever since I first saw it. This, if you want to see for people who don't like the 2 Tim Story ones, some people may say this is a great Fantastic Four movie, and you have 5 kids, but it's a really great film. This is the 2-disc collector's edition, but the DVD is not, the movie is not in there. It's just special features. We'll fix that. But The Incredibles, I really love The Incredibles. It's fun, awesome superhero, and this was a different take on the superhero genre. So I have to say Pixar really did a good job. Brad Bird did a great job. It's like James Bond, Indiana Jones, and the X-Men all rolled into one, and that was really great. High fly, entertaining. Love the story. I love Jack. I love Jason Lee as the villain. I love Samuel L. Jackson as Frozen. I love this little guy there. And the powers that each of them have, it's pretty cool. My favorite ones of the 4 who has powers is Bob, Elastigirl, and Dash. Violet's power is pretty cool too. So, and the special features on here, including the making of documentary, is incredible. I'm gonna have to do a DVD talk sometime on this, but The Incredibles, really great movie. It took a while, long enough, but next year I can't wait for the sequel to Incredibles 2. The teaser was fantastic, and this movie deserves a long-awaited sequel. It deserves at least two sequels. It deserves Incredibles 3 as well. Much better. I would rather watch The Incredibles 2 than Toy Story 4, which that leads me to my number one. But anyway, number 2 is The Incredibles. Favorite Pixar movie ever. And this is gonna be a shocker because some people put this as their worst one, as their best one, or in the list of somewhere. But to me, this is my favorite Pixar movie. Toy Story 3. 11 years worth the wait. 2010, really great movie. The story's not overrated in my eyes. I love the story in this movie. It's kind of like The Great Escape, but as a kid, my problem with this movie was the over darkness and the over maturity of how this movie was going, because there is a lot of intense moments there, especially with the scene them in the furnace, which I don't blame anyone for almost saying they did not want these toys to die, because I didn't want the toys to go out, the story trilogy to go out like that. And Lotso is a very awesome villain, but I hate the I hate him. He's just one of those villains that you can't help but like because he's so evil. And Ned Beatty does a great job. The only problem I have with him is that there's a scene where he breaks this pendant right in front of the baby and hits the baby, which that still bugs me when watching it today, because when the first time I saw this, I was 11 years old, and I saw it from Redbox. But that's still a problem with me, but I do like the reference to Return of the Jedi when the baby picks up Lotso and throws him. The voice acting is great. Sure, Jim Varney died, but Blake Clark's Slinky Dog was pretty cool. Disney, this is a sign why you should not do Toy Story 4, because you don't have the original voice of Slinky Dog and you don't have Mr. Potato Head, so I don't see how you're going to do it. Sure, the movie could surprise me, but Toy Story 4, I'm not looking forward to it, because this is the end of the Toy Story series for me. Voice acting was great, the music is great, the dark, I appreciate the tone, what they were doing with the maturity, because for those who grew up with the first two, I grew up with the first two, and as an 11-year-old, I didn't really care about this whole darkness atmosphere, but now I can get over it. And the beginning of the movie was always my favorite part in the movie, because it's a section of Woody's Roundup. So yeah, Toy Story 3, and the ending is satisfying. And all you people who cried, I cried too, because it was sad. I was so happy and I was sad, and this will be the last time we see these characters. So I have to say that this movie delivered on its promise. So overall, I have to say that I really love Toy Story 3. It is the best Pixar movie, and it's my favorite movie in the Toy Story trilogy. Screw Toy Story 4. Frozen and the Incredibles, Frozen 2 and the Incredibles 2 are more needed than this. So yeah, those were my thoughts and my official ranking on the Pixar movies. I hope you enjoy my ranking. Show your ranking down below. Do you like it? Do you not like this list? I will see you guys later, and if you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time. And I'll see you guys for the Superhero Movies 2017 ranking. That's right, more 2017 reviews are coming, and more rankings are coming, and more top 10s and stuff's coming. Yeah, this channel, we finna close 2017 out with a bang. So thank you guys, and if you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time. And I will get started with all of my end of the year top 10 lists soon enough, starting Friday or Saturday. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.